Chosen one, God says, the knock you hear is not random. It's destiny arriving. One knock, 3 realms, 7 days. These numbers are not symbolic decorations. They are coordinates. And the sound you keep sensing, the subtle knock, the interruption in your spirit, the shift in your atmosphere, is not random. Chosen one, lean in closely. The knock you hear is not coming from chaos. It is not anxiety. It is not coincidence. It is not imagination. It is movement. And not just any movement, destined movement. You've been asking, why now? You've been wondering, why does something feel so close? You felt the tension in the air, like something is pressing against the veil of your life, waiting to step through. And I tell you this, the knock is not an accident. It is alignment. For years you have been in preparation, seasons of isolation, seasons where doors closed without explanation, seasons where people walked away, where opportunities dissolved, where timing seemed cruel. But what you called delay was construction. What you called rejection was redirection. What you called silence was strategy. Heaven was not ignoring you. Heaven was building corridors you could not see. There are 3 realms involved in what is happening right now. The spiritual realm has already shifted. The unseen realm has already signed the papers. And the natural realm is about to catch up. That knock? It is the sound of synchronization. Something has been approved over your life. You thought the pressure you felt was opposition, but it was proximity. The closer destiny moves toward you, the heavier the atmosphere feels. The enemy panics when timelines accelerate. Distractions intensify when doors are about to open. Warfare increases when arrival is near. That is why your last few days have felt different. Not worse, different. Charged, thick, expectant. Listen carefully. When opportunity knocks, it sounds polite. When destiny knocks, it shakes foundations. And what you're hearing? It is not gentle. It is not subtle. It carries weight. There is a reason the scripture says in Revelation 3 verse 20, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." This was never about a casual visit. This was about divine interruption. About a moment when heaven stands at the threshold of your life and says, "Now." But here is the mystery. You are not just hearing a knock from outside. Something inside you is responding. Something ancient, something chosen, something that recognizes the frequency. Because you were marked for this. Long before the delay, long before the betrayal, long before the confusion, there was a signature placed over your future. There was an appointment written into your story. There was a day circled on heaven's calendar, and you are approaching it. You keep checking the clock. Heaven has been checking your readiness. You thought the waiting meant you were forgotten, but the waiting was calibration. Character was being strengthened. Discernment was being sharpened. Your heart was being purified so that when the knock came, you would not mistake it for noise. And still, part of you is hesitant, because the last time something knocked, it brought pain. The last time a door opened, it led to betrayal. The last time you trusted movement, it cost you comfort. So now you stand in tension, hopeful but guarded, expectant but cautious. But hear this clearly, this knock does not carry destruction. It carries fulfillment. It is not coming to take from you. It is coming to position you. You have been praying for acceleration. You have been whispering for confirmation. You have been asking for a sign that what you endured was not wasted. This is that sign. And if this message resonates in your spirit, if something in you feels seen, aligned, awakened, stay close. Lean in. Do not scroll past what heaven is revealing, because this is not just information, it is activation. There is a shift happening in your timeline. The knock is not random. It is precise. It is scheduled. It is timed. And here is what should both stir you and sober you. Not everyone hears it. Not everyone recognizes it. Not everyone is ready when destiny arrives. But you are not everyone. You are chosen. That is why the preparation was intense. That is why the isolation felt extreme. That is why the pruning felt personal. You were being aligned for impact. And in the coming days, what seems like a simple conversation, a simple opportunity, a simple encounter, it will not be simple. It will be catalytic. The knock you hear, it is not interruption, it is arrival. But here is the question that will determine everything. When the door opens, will you step through? Because what stands on the other side is bigger than you expected. And once it enters, nothing about your life will remain the same. And you have not yet seen how deeply this arrival is connected to everything that tried to stop you. You felt resistance because something was approaching. You felt pressure because something was aligning. And what you thought was spiritual warfare was often spiritual rearrangement. Chosen one, understand this. When destiny moves, it does not ask permission from your comfort zone. It disrupts routines. It challenges familiarity. It exposes hidden fears. And that is exactly why this knock feels unsettling. It is stretching you beyond the version of yourself that survived and into the version of yourself that will lead. You were not preserved just to remain where you are. You were protected for transition. For months, maybe even years, you have sensed that your current environment cannot contain what is inside you. Conversations feel smaller. Spaces feel tighter. Your spirit has outgrown rooms that once felt secure, and you wondered if that dissatisfaction meant ingratitude. It wasn't ingratitude, it was ignition. There is a difference between being ungrateful and being upgraded. Heaven has been upgrading your internal capacity because external increase is near. That is why your discernment sharpened. That is why your circle shifted. That is why your tolerance for superficial connections decreased. You are being aligned with weightier assignments. The knock you hear carries responsibility. This is not just about blessing. It is about positioning. It is about influence. It is about impact that stretches beyond your own comfort. And that is why the process felt heavier than you expected. You kept asking for confirmation. Let this be clarity. You are not stepping into randomness. You are stepping into fulfillment. There is a reason it says in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a future and a hope." Notice the language, plans, not impulses, not experiments, plans, structured, intentional, designed. The knock is the execution of a plan that predates your struggle. And here is what many do not realize. Destiny rarely announces itself loudly at first. It often disguises itself as an ordinary moment, a message, a phone call, a meeting, an idea that will not leave your mind. Pay attention to what keeps returning. Pay attention to what keeps pressing. Pay attention to what feels aligned, even if it feels intimidating. Because intimidation is not always a warning. Sometimes it is proof that you are standing before something larger than your current capacity, and that growth is required. You have been strengthened quietly. While others underestimated you, resilience was forming. While others dismissed you, discipline was deepening. While others forgot you, heaven was refining you. That is why the knock is not random. It is recognition. Recognition of endurance. Recognition of obedience when no one was watching. Recognition of faith when results were invisible. And still, there is hesitation in your heart. Because stepping forward means leaving something behind. And leaving, even when necessary, can feel like loss. But hear this, you cannot carry yesterday's identity into tomorrow's assignment. The version of you that survived the wilderness is not the final version of you. The version of you that endured rejection is not the final version of you. The version of you that doubted your worth is not the final version of you. You are evolving into alignment. The knock is not asking you to become someone else. It is calling you into who you were always meant to be. There will be voices that question it. There will be doubts that whisper, "What if this fails?" There will be memories of past disappointments trying to replay themselves in your mind. But this is not a repeat season. This is a release season. The difference is subtle but powerful. Repeat seasons recycle lessons. Release seasons unlock inheritance, and you are closer to inheritance than you think. If this message resonates deeply, if something in your spirit feels awakened, stay attentive. Do not disconnect. Do not downplay what you are sensing. Sometimes the most powerful confirmations come quietly, and only those who are spiritually alert recognize them. The knock will become clearer. The opportunity will become undeniable, and the decision will become unavoidable. Because destiny does not knock forever. It knocks within windows, and your window is opening. But there is something you must understand before that door swings wide. Something about why the opposition increased right before this moment. Because what tried to block you was not random either. What tried to block you was never just about stopping progress. It was about testing permission. Chosen one, hear this carefully. Opposition does not attack what is ordinary. It targets what carries consequence. The intensity you experience was not proof of weakness. It was evidence of weight. Something about your next step carries ripple effects far beyond what you can currently see. That is why resistance escalated right before the knock became audible. There were delays that made no logical sense, misunderstandings that appeared suddenly, fatigue that felt heavier than your workload, doubt that seemed louder at night. It felt strategic because it was, but not in the way you assumed. You thought everything was trying to push you backward. In reality, pressure was pushing you forward. Consider this. If a door is reinforced, it is because something valuable is on the other side. Cheap rooms don't require heavy locks. The magnitude of resistance often reveals the magnitude of arrival. And your arrival carries significance. You are not only being protected from failure, you are being prepared for visibility. Visibility demands maturity. Influence demands stability. Expansion demands inner grounding. That is why the refining season focused more on your character than your comfort. You asked for elevation. Elevation requires endurance. There were moments you almost gave up, moments when silence felt unbearable, moments when you wondered if you misheard the promise entirely. But even in those fragile hours, something inside you refused to quit. That something was not stubbornness, it was calling. Calling does not allow surrender before completion. And here is the deeper truth. Some of the very setbacks you resented were shields. Conversations that fell apart protected you from misalignment. Opportunities that collapsed saved you from distraction. Relationships that dissolved cleared space for alignment. It felt like loss. It was actually filtration. Because destiny cannot share space with what drains it. You may not have understood why certain people exited your life abruptly. You may not have understood why certain plans failed right when they seemed promising. But timing is not random in your story. It is orchestrated. You are stepping into a season where clarity will replace confusion. Patterns will make sense. The puzzle pieces will begin to connect. But here is what must shift first. Your perception of the battle. Stop viewing the opposition as proof that you are off track. Sometimes opposition confirms you are directly on track. If the path were insignificant, it would not require resistance. You were never fighting for survival alone. You were fighting for positioning, and positioning always precedes presentation. The knock you hear is connected to everything that tried to stop you because those obstacles were measuring readiness, testing resilience, stretching faith, deepening discernment. You are no longer reacting impulsively. You are no longer trusting blindly. You are no longer seeking validation from rooms that cannot recognize your value. That transformation did not happen accidentally. It happened intentionally. The refining was specific because the assignment is specific. And now something is shifting internally. Fear is losing its grip. Doubt is weakening. A quiet boldness is rising. Not loud, not arrogant, just steady, anchored, certain. That certainty is not self-generated. It is alignment settling into your spirit. You can feel that something is approaching, but you also sense that you are not the same person who once felt unprepared. There is strength where insecurity used to be. There is clarity where confusion once lingered. There is patience where impulsiveness once ruled. This is not coincidence. This is calibration. And as the knock grows clearer, you will begin to recognize something powerful. You are not chasing destiny. Destiny is approaching you. That realization changes everything, because when you chase, you operate from lack. When destiny approaches, you operate from alignment. You are not striving for what is meant for you. You are stepping into synchronization with it. But before the door fully opens, there is one more shift required. One more internal adjustment that will determine whether you walk in hesitation or authority. Because what is arriving will require more than excitement. It will require confidence in who you have become. Confidence is not noise. It is not arrogance. It is not performance. Confidence, chosen one, is agreement. Agreement with what heaven has already spoken over you. Agreement with the identity forged through fire. Agreement with the truth that you are no longer who you used to be. Before the door opens fully, this agreement must settle inside you. Because what is arriving will not bow to insecurity. It will respond to alignment. You have spent years shrinking yourself to fit rooms that could not comprehend your capacity. You lowered your voice to avoid intimidation. You diluted your vision to avoid rejection. You carried your strength quietly so others would feel comfortable. But the next season will not reward shrinking. It will require presence. Presence does not mean domination. It means awareness of who you are. Awareness of what you carry. Awareness that you are not stepping into this next chapter by accident. There was a time you questioned your worth. A time when comparison stole your confidence. A time when you measured yourself against timelines that were never assigned to you. But comparison is irrelevant when calling is specific. No one else carries your blueprint. The knock you hear is not looking for a replica of someone else. It is responding to your unique alignment. And this is where the final internal shift happens. You must stop asking, "Am I ready?" and begin declaring, "I have been prepared." There is a difference. When you ask if you are ready, you focus on fear. When you acknowledge preparation, you focus on process. And your process was intentional. Every delay refined you. Every disappointment disciplined you. Every silent season strengthened you. You are not stepping forward inexperienced. You are stepping forward refined. And refinement produces authority. Authority is not loud. It is steady. It does not panic under pressure. It does not collapse under scrutiny. It does not crumble under responsibility. The door that is about to open carries responsibility, influence, visibility, expansion. And expansion requires internal stability. You have that stability now. The old version of you might have sabotaged this moment. The old version might have hesitated too long. The old version might have allowed fear to interpret the knock as threat instead of transition. But you are not the old version. Something settled in you during the waiting. A grounded assurance, a deeper trust, a sharper discernment. You no longer need constant confirmation from people. You no longer require applause to validate your movement. That is maturity. And maturity is what qualifies you for what is coming. There will be a moment very soon when the knock becomes unmistakable. A conversation that feels different. An opportunity that feels aligned. A shift that feels undeniable. In that moment, your response matters. Not reaction, response. Reaction is driven by fear or impulse. Response is driven by clarity and alignment. You will not need to force this. You will not need to manipulate it. You will not need to convince anyone of your worth. What is meant for you will recognize you without persuasion. Because destiny does not require performance. It requires positioning, and you are positioned. Stay attentive in the coming days. Stay spiritually alert. Do not dismiss subtle shifts. Do not ignore intuitive nudges. Do not downplay doors that open naturally. Sometimes the most powerful transitions begin quietly, and if you feel this message anchoring something inside you, if it resonates deeply, remain connected. Remain expectant. There is power in agreement. There is power in anticipation aligned with faith. You are not waiting anymore. You are approaching. The atmosphere around you is already adjusting. Conversations are aligning. Timelines are synchronizing. What felt distant is moving closer. And when the door finally opens, you will understand why the preparation had to be so precise. Because what stands on the other side is not just opportunity, it is fulfillment. And what you are about to realize will shift the way you interpret every past season of your life. Because the knock was never random, and what is stepping through that door carries a name you have sensed but not yet fully understood. You have sensed the name before, but you hesitated to say it out loud, because saying it makes it real. Saying it removes excuses. Saying it demands movement. Chosen one. The knock you hear is not interruption. It is not coincidence. It is not distraction. It's destiny arriving. Not someday, not eventually, not in a distant, abstract future. Arriving now. Everything you endured was not random pain, it was alignment pressure. Every closed door trained your discernment. Every betrayal sharpened your wisdom. Every delay matured your spirit. And now the corridor is clear. You thought you were waiting on destiny. Destiny was waiting on your formation. There is a moment in every chosen life where preparation meets permission, where endurance meets opportunity, where refinement meets release. You are standing in that intersection. The knock is the sound of permission. For years you prayed for confirmation, for acceleration, for visible movement. You asked for a sign that your obedience mattered, that your faithfulness in obscurity was seen, that your tears were counted. They were. Nothing was wasted. Not a single silent night. Not a single unseen sacrifice. Not a single disciplined decision when quitting would have been easier. You are not stepping into something fragile. You are stepping into something ordained. It's destiny arriving. And destiny does not arrive empty-handed. It carries connections you did not manufacture, favor you did not manipulate, access you did not force. There will be conversations that open pathways. There will be opportunities that feel tailored. There will be confirmations that silence every lingering doubt. When it happens, it will feel both sudden and long-awaited. Sudden because it shifts quickly. Long-awaited because your spirit has known it was coming. Do not shrink in that moment. Do not question your worth. Do not allow old insecurities to narrate a new chapter. You were shaped for this. This is why the pressure intensified recently. This is why distractions tried to pull you sideways. This is why discouragement whispered louder than usual. The closer destiny moves, the louder doubt attempts to speak. But doubt is losing authority in your life. You are not the same person who once trembled at uncertainty. There is steadiness in you now, a grounded boldness, a calm clarity. And as this unfolds, people will notice. Some will be inspired, some will be confused, some will quietly regret underestimating you. But this next season is not about proving them wrong. It is about fulfilling what was written. You are stepping into visible alignment. There will be a defining moment very soon when you recognize it fully. The knock will no longer be subtle. The door will not just open, it will swing wide. And in that instant, you will remember this message. You will realize that nothing was random. The struggle had structure. The silence had strategy. The delay had design. It's destiny arriving. Walk through the door with authority. Not arrogance, authority. Authority rooted in preparation. Authority grounded in identity. Authority aligned with calling. And when you step forward, do it with gratitude, not fear, with clarity, not hesitation, with expectation, not anxiety. This is not the climax of your story. It is the commencement of your expansion. Stay spiritually alert in these coming days. Stay receptive. Stay aligned. What begins as a knock will become a transition. What begins as a transition will become transformation. And transformation will become testimony. If this message has resonated deeply, if something in your spirit feels awakened, remain connected. There is power in agreement. There is power in walking consciously into what has been prepared for you. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are positioned. The knock you hear is not random. It's destiny arriving.